Gillingham's 12th place finish in League One came courtesy of 16 wins and 65 goals. The bookies rate them as 10-1 to gain promotion, but some fresh faces and better defending could transform the Gills into contenders.
I think the adrenaline starts to build, your head starts to spin, the conundrums of the teams and players that you're picking starts to wake you up earlier and go to sleep later. But I think that's why we're in it. We have that bug, that desire, that drive.
New squad for a new season. The Gills have taken on 9 new signings ready for the coming matches. Chairman Paul Scally is ever optimistic with his ambitions.
To finish higher than we finished last season and to achieve the 3 goals, which is, 1 is obviously stay in this division, 2 is to get into the playoffs, and 3 is to get automatic promotion. I mean, same target every year, same challenges every year. I think this season we've got a very good squad, young squad, very young average age, very pacey squad, and I think it could be a very exciting squad. So if we can finish higher than we did this season and have a good season, I'll be very happy.
It's not been a great pre-season so far though, with a 0-0 draw to Portsmouth and a 2-1 defeat to Brighton before that. This will be new manager Justin Edinburgh's first full season, and Scally says he's confident.
I think Justin is a great guy. He's got a very good young management team around him. I think he plays attacking, stylish football when he can, and he's very organised. So I think he'll bring a lot to a team that is a very exciting young team.
But the chairman says he's always looking for players to improve the squad, and that supporters will enjoy the coming year.
Fans will see lots of changes around the club this season. I think we're doing a lot of work behind the scenes where we've taken back the catering operation, putting a lot of effort into the crowd facilities, ground facilities, and behind the scenes really as well.
Gillingham's next match is tomorrow afternoon, home against Sheffield United, with kick-off at 3. Nashanissa, ITV News.
Thank you very much, everybody. Well done.
The biggest winners on the Football League's opening day were Gillingham, who took less than 8 minutes to take the lead against Sheffield United, thanks to a close-range finish from ex-Spurs trainee Emmanuel Osadebi. This was his senior debut. The Blades, in green, were pre-season promotion favourites, but Nigel Atkins' first-half team talk must have been a tricky one, thanks to another debut goal, this time from Cardiff loanee Deji Oshilaja. John Egan had scored on the last day of last season as Gillingham finished solidly. The Irishmen headed in their 3rd. Sheffield United's players might be practising defending set pieces this week. A late 4th for the Gills made it a very uncomfortable start for Adkins. At least there was no defensive error this time. Bradley Dack capping off Gillingham's glorious opening day in a fitting manner.
So the first table of the new season. And at the bottom, 7 clubs lost their opening game. Sheffield United prop up the rest after their heavy 4-0 defeat at Gillingham. At the top, the 7 winners are led by Gillingham, followed by Swindon, Chesterfield, Coventry, Rochdale, Burton and Millwall.
Derek Adams' first home game as Plymouth manager saw the Scottish Mourinho 5 minutes away from recording a cup upset. Against Gillingham, Craig Tanner volleyed the League Two side ahead with one of the goals of the round. But League One Gillingham are enjoying a super start to the season. Sheffield United were thrashed on Saturday, and now the second round of the Cup beckons. 2 late goals saw the Gills turn this around. Bradley Dack's exquisite finish was the first of 2 in as many minutes. Jake Hessenthaler, the son of former manager Andy, arriving unmarked at the far post to propel the Gills into round 2 for the 2nd successive season.
Gillingham fans are travelling the most of any club in League One this season as one of only 5 southern clubs in the division. It's the equivalent, actually, of a trip to New York and back between now and the end of May. 400 miles today to Burslem and back to take on Port Vale.
After a 500-mile round trip to Plymouth on Tuesday, it was just a small matter of 400 miles or so to Port Vale and back for the Gillingham faithful. But it certainly looked worth it when Richard Duffy's back pass was picked up by Jack Anick and promptly penalised by referee Fred Graham, and then subsequently punished by Bradley Dack, who blasted his 3rd goal of the season. But although Port Vale are still waiting for a first home win since February, they did at least have the satisfaction of a point, thanks to the efforts of Lewis Dodds.
Bradford City remain bottom of the table after a 2-1 defeat at home to Gillingham. They move up to second. James Hansen gave Bradford the lead. But Gillingham equalised shortly after half-time. This effort from Luke Norris, but it ended in disappointment for Bradford City and for Hansen, who then scored an own goal.
The Gills went back to the top of League One with midfielder Bradley Dack stealing the show. His first came after good set-up play from Jordan Houghton and Rory Donnelly. He made it 4 league goals for the season with just 8 minutes of the match left after being shoved in the back by former Gills defender Donovan Daniels. A confident Dack put away the spot kick to complete an all-round good day at the office for manager Justin Edinburgh.
Going well under Gary Rowett, Birmingham demonstrated their strength in depth against Gillingham. Wes Thomas was one of 9 changes made by the manager. The striker certainly made the most of his opportunity, firing the Blues ahead in the first half. Gills fans will rightly point out that they made changes too. Justin Edinburgh tried to freshen up his side, but said this was a game too far for his team. Though they threatened through Rory Donnelly, the League One High Flyers were dealt their first defeat of the season at St Andrews. Thomas made sure of that. Another opportunist finish gave him his second of the game and confirmed Birmingham's place in round 3. Even better, the draw pairs them with Aston Villa and gives the Blue Noses a first-second City derby since 2011. Right now, despite Reece Brown's late miss, Birmingham fans are feeling anything but blue.
Most teams are finding Gillingham hard to resist. Peterborough had the crossbar to thank as Justin Edinburgh's men began to assert themselves in the closing stages. Luke Norris unfortunate with that effort, but Posh had been served a warning, and with just 5 minutes to go, Adedeji Oshalaja latched on to John Egan's header to finally end the deadlock. Gills overjoyed to be on the brink of a 3rd successive league win, but they were denied that by one of those goals which looks dubious under the latest interpretation of the offside law. John Taylor on target after Ricardo Santos had lunged but failed to connect.
For the first time in a decade, actually, their victory at Blackpool was their 4th league win in a row. Sheffield United and Burton, who both won today, are just a point further back. Gillingham's draw with Peterborough sees them drop to 4th, while Rochdale and Chesterfield make up the rest of the top 6 after both won today. At the wrong end of the table, Blackpool's difficult start to the season, well, it gets even more tricky, doesn't it? A 4-0 home loss to Walsall today. They have 1 point from 5 games.
As far as penalty appeals go, Doncaster's Cedric Avina thought he had a pretty strong case against Gillingham's Ryan Jackson. Referee Chris Sargentson thought otherwise, perhaps a let-off for the unbeaten Gills. Another big call decided the game. Keep your eye on the defender on the goal line. When the ball broke to Jake Hessenthaler, the shot appeared to be blocked on the line. We don't have goal line cameras in League One, just the Mark 1 eyeball. The decision, goal, the winning goal. Gillingham go top, 6 successive home wins, their best in 15 years.
It's obviously nice to continue our home form. That's 3 successive wins, 3 clean sheets. So, yeah, very good to be back at the top.
A 7th successive home victory for Gillingham. Blackpool keeper Colin Doyle could only parry a Luke Norris set-piece. Skipper Doug Loft claimed his first goal of the season. Ryan Jackson put through his own net to give the Seasiders a lifeline. A Brad Potts cross turned past his own keeper by the unfortunate Jackson. The Gills winner came from a familiar source, top scorer Bradley Dack. 5 now in the league for Dack, and they lead the way in the division.
Gillingham arrived in Essex on top of the table and on top of their game. Unbeaten in the league and unstoppable it would seem, the only cloud on their horizon has been a lack of ruthless finishing in front of goal, underlined by Cody MacDonald's generosity. But Colchester were also fairly quick out of the blocks, especially Callum Harriott, who made all the hard yards to give Gavin Massey the relatively easy finish after just 4 minutes. That lead, though, was destined only to last 3 minutes. MacDonald atoning for his miss with the assist, which allowed Luke Norris to show exactly why he's been the Gills' go-to striker this season. The home side, though, responded with an impression of the kind of football more common at Real Madrid. Matthew Briggs and George Moncur combining to tee up Harriet's first goal since December, which was definitely worth the wait. But the visitors will be kicking themselves about the chances that got away. They had a golden opportunity to clinch a draw when Frankie Kent was penalised for a handball. That gave McDonald another sight of goal from the penalty spot, but Jamie Jones won that particular game of poker, and as a result, Colchester won the match, their second victory of the week.
To get our first home win of the season here today has just given us a lot of confidence and a lot of belief in what we have been doing. I thought we were unfortunate not to have won earlier in the season, but it was a good game out there today. A real competitive game against a strong Gillingham team. You can see why they're top of the league. But it was a fantastic.
Gillingham are yet to suffer back-to-back defeats under manager Justin Edinburgh, but they lost last week and created few chances at Oakwell. Midway through the first half, Josh Scowen's cross was only cleared as far as Ben Pearson, on loan from Manchester United. That 20-yard strike, his first for Barnsley this season. Barnsley boss Lee Johnson's been forced to deny this week that he's setting his team up too defensively, but they'll have no problem with a long ball like that, finding Marley Watkins just before the half-time whistle. Sam Winnell sealing all 3 points, meaning the Gills missed the chance to move up to second.
Great story. Now on to football. Gillingham thrashed Fleetwood Town last night to put their League One promotion campaign firmly back on track.
Yes, the Gills bounced back from 2 consecutive defeats to win 5-1 at the Priestfield Stadium, as Dan McLaren reports.
After 2 games without a win, the Gills got off to a bad start, with Fleetwood scoring early on with a free kick. But Gillingham soon came back, Rory Donnelly converting to level the game. Then 10 minutes later, Jordan Houghton put the Gills in front. From then on, it only got better for the home side, reviving that encouraging start shown earlier in the season. This strike from John Egan made it 3-1. Then Donnelly made this superb run from his own half despite the efforts of several Fleetwood players, chipping over the keeper to score his second goal before the break. In the second half, Cody MacDonald added a 5th to their tally, sealing Fleetwood's fate, extending the Gills' 100% record at home this season, and they remain 3rd in the table. Dan McLaren, BBC South East Today.
Right, on with the football, on to Sky Bet League One now. Here is a perfect illustration of football's highs and lows. Rory Donnelly's second goal, and this is brilliant, in a 5-1 victory for Gillingham against Fleetwood. This was on Tuesday night. One of the highlights of the week. You would struggle to see a better finish, I would say, anywhere in Europe. But while that result kept Gillingham in the top 3, it meant the end of Graham Alexander's time as manager of Fleetwood Town.
Well, we'll see how the Cod Army got on without him in a short while. First, though, to the matches at the top of the table, starting with another home game for Gillingham.
2 of Gillingham's goals in that win over Fleetwood came from Rory Donnelly. He didn't wait long to open the scoring at the Priestfield. In just the 8th minute, Ben Dickinson finds him for a simple finish. Since David Dunn took caretaker charge of Oldham, all 3 of their games have ended 1-1, so a familiar feeling just before the half hour when they equalised. Dickinson involved again, this time at the wrong end, as he deflected Michael Higden's shot into his own net. Gillingham have got a 100% record at home this season, and just after half an hour, Oldham's keeper David Cornell not doing enough to put off Donnelly as he scored his second of the day. But that lead only lasted 3 minutes. Oldham equalised. Higden turning provider this time for Dominic Polion to score his second of the season. 4 goals in the first half. The second period was going to struggle to match that, but 10 minutes in, Polion lifted it over. And if Higden felt aggrieved about the equaliser being an own goal, no doubt about that one. But 2 minutes later, Gillingham were level. Josh Wright laying it on for Jake Hessenthaler to score his 3rd of the season. Another score draw, but David Dunn sees it as a turning point.
A few crackers, weren't there, in that one? Here's what it means to the table in League One. Burton's victory over Southend sees them move 3 clear at the top of the table. Walsall stay second. Bury's 6th straight league win puts them 3rd. Gillingham dropped to 4th after that draw against Oldham. At the other end of the table, Crewe stay bottom after losing at home against Chesterfield. Managerless Fleetwood are 3 points above them, while Blackpool's win over Swindon sees them join Doncaster, Scunthorpe, Shrewsbury and Oldham on 11 points.
Gillingham came from behind to beat Luton, who took the lead through Cameron McGeehan. That's his 5th goal of the season. Gillingham levelled on 65 minutes. There was a mix-up in the Luton penalty area, and that allowed Max Ehmer to score his first goal since March. And with just 7 minutes left, Bradley Garmston set up Bradley Dack, and he scored the winner.
Chesterfield fans haven't seen a home win since the opening day of the season, and the wait continues. John Egan latching on to the free kick that bypassed everyone. Ry Simmons gave the home fans some hope with his first goal for the club. A really cool finish after latching on to Sam Moore's through ball. Gillingham were back in front when Rory Donnelly headed in Jermaine McGlashan's well-placed cross. That's 5 in his last 3 appearances. Having set one up, McGlashan then went for glory. His dribble and shot only denied by the frame of Tommy Lee's goal. Losing is proving a habit that is hard to break at the Proact Stadium for Chesterfield. A 3rd goal was inevitable. Harry Lennon, on loan from Charlton, eventually heading in. Gillingham move up to 3rd.
Crewe haven't won at home all season. In fact, no points from the last 5 games at the Alexandra Stadium. Adam King coming closest to putting them in front against a strong Gillingham side. It's fair to say that Justin Edinburgh's side are flying because of their home form, with just the 2 wins on the road, but they are the league's top scorers. Cody MacDonald unable to add to that tally. A survey this week found that Gillingham have the league's cheapest tickets. Rory Donnelly has been on fire for them. He had scored 5 in his last 3 league games, and deep into injury time, he benefited from a fortunate ricochet to send them top of the league, worth every penny.
10-man Gillingham came from behind to beat in-form Scunthorpe United 2-1. Scott Laird's powerful left-footed shot to put the visitors ahead before Gill's substitute Brennan Dickinson headed in Bradley Dack's corner to equalise. Gillingham had Josh Wright sent off for this tackle with 9 minutes left, but there was still time for the Gills to snatch the win. Harry Lennon converting another Dack set piece in stoppage time.
For the first time this term, Gillingham have failed to beat a team in the top half of the League One table. Southend struck first at the Priestfield. Steve McLaughlin's opening goal of the season looked like it would be decisive right up until the 89th minute, when the leaders who travelled to Walsall next grabbed a dramatic equaliser through Doug Loft. The Gills are now unbeaten in 7 league and cup matches.
Walsall leapfrogged Gillingham into top spot after a 5-goal thriller at the Banksy Stadium. It didn't start well for Dean Smith's side. Cody MacDonald firing the Gills ahead with his 2nd league goal this season. And the Walsall manager admitted he was a worried man when defender Paul Downing tussled with Gills midfielder Bradley Dack. Ref Darren Drysdale gave a penalty, and Dack himself made it 2-0 from the spot. The Saddlers then began their long march back into the match. Kieran Morris's long ranger gave them hope. And 2 minutes later, the top 2 in the league were all square. Milan Laukovic converting a cross from George Evans. It was his 4th goal of the season in all competitions. And the match looked like being a draw until an injury-time winner from Walsall. Rico Henry with the cross. Cyprus international Jason Dimitreo scored his first goal in English football in more than 5 years.
Despite beating Sheffield United, Crewe are still bottom on goal difference behind Swindon. Doncaster are the big movers, out of the bottom 4 and up 4 places to 18th after beating Colchester. Fleetwood slip into the bottom 4 after losing at home to Chesterfield. Walsall's win over Gillingham lifts them to the top, ahead of Burton on goal difference, with Gillingham dropping to 3rd. Bury move into the top 6 after their win over Blackpool, while Sheffield United drop 2 places to 8th.
League One high flyers Gillingham were knocked out of the Cup by League Two strugglers Stevenage. Manager Justin Edinburgh being outdone by former Spurs teammate Teddy Sheringham. Both, of course, won the FA Cup as players. Unmarked Stephen Schumacher gave the home side the lead with a terrific strike from 20 yards after a well-worked corner. Chris Whelpdale made it 2, heading home from close range against his former club, and Stevenage rounded off the win in stoppage time.
Ball held forward by Conlon. Nadouye is onside. Oh, there's 2 men running through for Stevenage. They're going to seal it here. Oh, they've just played it round. Stuart Nelson and Nadouye taps it in. Stevenage 3, Gillingham 0.
In the southern section, Yeovil are through after they beat Gillingham 5-4 on penalties. Well, Yeovil took an early lead through Harry Cornick. But Gillingham equalised just before the break. Bradley Gamston with his first goal of the season. The game finished 1-1 at the final whistle, so it had to be decided on penalties. The scores were level at 4-4. Roy Donald has stepped up for Gillingham, but he fired over. Connor Roberts then scored the winning goal for Yeovil to send them through to the semi-finals.
Gillingham are back on top of League One, but they had to do it the hard way after Leon Clark gave Bury a 4th-minute lead at the Priestfield. It was short-lived because in a frantic opening 10 minutes, the Gills regained control of the match. Dominic Samuel, who's on loan from Reading, marked his debut for the Kent club by making it 1-1. And they went on to take the lead when Bury failed to clear another set piece. This one was converted by John Egan. He's now got 4 goals so far this season. Justin Edinburgh's men are on the summit of League One on goal difference, which was helped by an outstanding individual goal from former Tottenham youngster Emmanuel Osadebe. The 19-year-old certainly won't forget his first senior goal, which sealed a 3-1 win.
Drama at the Ricoh as Coventry City's Jim O'Brien cleared Cody McDonald's header off the line. The Sky Blues immediately attacked as Gillingham's Adedeji Oshilaja made a mess of this pass. Norwich loanee Jacob Murphy got the first of an amazing 10-minute hat-trick. Tony Mowbray's side destroyed leaders Gillingham to replace them at the top. Ben Turner back at the club after 5 years, heading this one home. It was like the good old days as Coventry made it 3. O'Brien this time the creator. Murphy finished smartly, his 5th goal in his last 3 appearances. Coventry's first half demolition continued. This time Chris Stoke crossing for the 20-year-old to complete his hat-trick. A 4-0 lead at half-time. Gills boss Justin Edinburgh said his side had looked comfortable before a mad 10 minutes. Bradley Dack got a consolation effort for them. Coventry, though, 3 points clear at the top.
But Gillingham got their League One promotion campaign firmly back on track with an emphatic victory over Rochdale at the Priestfield. Ian Palmer has our roundup of the action.
Bradley Dack gave Gillingham the lead in the 7th minute. It's Dack's 10th goal of the season. The Gills will need him to keep scoring if they're to escape from League One. The early setback saw Rochdale turn up for work. The Dales created good chances. The hands of Gillingham's keeper Stuart Nelson were warmed on a number of occasions. Without his diligence in goal, Gillingham would have struggled to earn a point. The Gills had lost 2 of their last 3 games, so the win was an important statement of intent to their near rivals. Gillingham's second goal came in the 80th minute from Oshilaja to finally ease the pressure. Gillingham are second in the league, 1 point behind Coventry City.
It wasn't the ideal start to the afternoon for Gillingham, especially for Deji Oshilaja, who handed Shrewsbury a very early Christmas present. The lead didn't last long, though. Cody McDonald deciding to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and the home side just couldn't stop him. Justin Edinburgh's team have been quietly going about their business in the league, and having beaten Rochdale in midweek, another 3 points beckoned here, thanks to a blockbuster from Ryan Jackson. But the Shrews could be difficult to tame on home territory, and they clawed their way back onto level terms thanks to another strike from James Collins. This, his 3rd goal in his last 4 matches.
Given Coventry's draw with Doncaster, a Gillingham win would have taken them top of the table, but they haven't won at Shrewsbury since 1996 and they still haven't, although McDonald came awfully close.
Here's the table then. Sheffield United haven't won now in 6. They stay 12th. Meanwhile, at the top, Coventry stay there despite drawing with Doncaster. Gillingham a point behind. Burton and Walsall, who both won today, they're 3rd and 4th. Wigan 2 points behind in 5th. And free-scoring Peterborough are in the last playoff spot. At the wrong end, Barnsley's draw with Sheffield United not enough to stop them falling to the bottom. They've been leapfrogged by Crewe and Blackpool, who both won today. Oldham stay 21st.
Nigel Clough was missing from the Burton dugout at Gillingham. A previously arranged engagement meant he missed out on his new team's latest success. The departure of Gillingham captain Doug Loft wasn't on the agenda. His challenge on Stuart Bevan led to his early dismissal. Damien McCrory beat Stuart Nelson to give the visitors an advantage in this top-of-the-table meeting. Just too much pace on the strike for the home keeper. And in stoppage time, 2 late goals ensured maximum points for Burton. Substitute Lucas Akins with the second of the game put them firmly in command, and Nelson was left embarrassed. Anthony O'Connor rounded off the scoring as the Gills' unbeaten home league record went for a Burton. Clough inherits a team he believes has all the credentials required to sustain a genuine title push.
Millwall boss Neil Harris gave his players a couple of days off after last weekend's game at Oldham was postponed. It didn't pay off. Dominic Samuel's header from Bradley Dack's delivery put the hosts on the back foot, and 5 minutes later they were treading water. Cody MacDonald caught the home defence dozing, and Jordan Archer's late arrival meant the keeper's afternoon ended early. David Ford's chance to be an instant hero denied by Dack, and last week's 3-0 home defeat by Burton was all forgotten for Gillingham. An away win by the same scoreline was wrapped up just before the end, when Byron Webster and Ford failed to match Samuel's determination. The Gills' first win at the Den since 2003, and presumably no more seasonal gestures of goodwill from the Millwall boss.
Swindon were the informed team in League One after 5 wins in 6 had moved them away from the bottom 4. Want to see the best example of turning defence into attack? Watch this. From the edge of one area to the other in just 9 seconds. Jonathan Abika and Ben Gladwin linking up on the break. Abika with the final touch and finish. His 6th goal of the season. But Gillingham equalised within a minute. Some patient build-up. Bradley Dack left with too much space on the edge of the area. He had the time to curl in his 10th goal of the campaign. Gillingham are one of the highest scorers in English football this season and were soon 2-1 ahead. Swindon unable to clear the danger. Jake Hessenthaler's volley passing 3 Swindon bodies before it eventually hit the back of the net. Swindon then injected some pace to the game. But Gillingham weren't to be outfoxed. Instead, they went on their way to get their 3rd and final goal. Josh Wright playing in Ryan Jackson, whose left-footed shot curled past the outstretched keeper. Time to celebrate. Maybe one from the Christmas party. I don't think it will catch on. There was still time for more drama at the county ground. Rory Donnelly brought down on the charge to goal. Referee Fred Graham issuing Rafael Rossi Branco with his 2nd yellow card. An early shower for the Brazilian captain. Stoppage time provided more drama. Bradley Barry blocked John Egan, illegally according to the ref. Bradley Dack was the man to step up and take the spot kick. Saved by Lawrence Vigouroux, as was the rebound by defender Jordan Turnbull. Gillingham stay 3rd.
Gillingham had hoped the top 2 would slip up so they could take advantage against Colchester. George Moncur tested Stuart Nelson in a half the bottom side had the better of. Colchester had conceded 57 goals before this game and Gillingham turned the screw in the second half, with Reading loanee Dominic Samuel latching on to Ryan Jackson's ball in to put the home side ahead. Justin Edinburgh's team were looking for their 3rd straight win in the league, and with confidence high, John Egan thought he'd have a go from distance. Would have been a contender for goal of the season if it wasn't for the crossbar. Hughes boss Kevin Keane almost picked up his new side's first point since October through Marvin Sordell. It wasn't to be though, they stay rock bottom.
Here's the table. What a goal, by the way, that was from Andy Williams. Absolutely stunning. Well, that result sees Doncaster move up to 15th. Oldham stay in the relegation zone. They remain above Colchester and above Crewe on goal difference. Fleetwood have now dropped into the bottom 4, while Chesterfield and Barnsley are a point clear of it.
At the top, Walsall stay there after that win over Peterborough. They remain above Burton, who also won today. Gillingham are a point behind in 3rd, while Coventry stay in 4th spot. Wigan now up to 5th after they leapfrogged Posh.
After 3 wins in a row, Gillingham are beginning to believe this could be a promotion year, and their holiday heroics continued. With only 4 minutes played, top scorer Bradley Dack ran on to Ryan Jackson's flick for his 13th of the season. And 7 minutes later, it was 2-0, another fine goal. Rory Donnelly cutting in to fire in his 7th of the campaign, at first in 12 matches. An almighty scramble in the Gills box almost got Bradford back in it. Rory McArdle's shot eventually grabbed by Stuart Nelson. But Doug Loft's first goal since October, finishing off a really slick move, wrapped up the points a minute from the end. And a miserable afternoon got even worse for the visiting Bantams when Nathan Clark was shown a straight red card in stoppage time. Gillingham start the year in 2nd place as a result of this win.
Welcome to the DW Stadium for this Sky Bet League One match between Wigan Athletic and Gillingham, live on Sky Sports. And a look at the table shows just how big this game is. Wigan can cement their place in the top 6 for another week at least. And while a victory wouldn't see them climb the table, it would definitely keep them on the heels of that group of 4 chasing automatic promotion. For Gillingham, the game is a little more straightforward. Win or draw, and they go top.
It's Bradley Dack. So close, so unlucky. He's a talent, all right.
That's an outstanding effort. I think he actually fooled Jääskeläinen, because if anything, Jääskeläinen thought it was going to go to his right. That is a great effort, because more often than not, when you see free kicks taken from that side, you're looking to get it over the wall and to Jääskeläinen's right, but he had absolutely no chance of getting that. And that's just the form that Dack's in.
Wants his players to keep hold of the ball. Sometimes, as we heard there, there can be a few grumbles from the home fans. This is Samuel who's in behind. It's Dominic Samuel who's forced it past Jussi Jääskeläinen. And Gillingham, who have their eyes on top spot tonight, seize control of this game.
It was great play, and what a fantastic ball from Dack. And the movement from Samuel as well. See the ball there now when it comes to Dack. He sees exactly what he's trying to do. Samuel's got on the outside of pace, no question of it being offside, and his first touch is brilliant because he takes it inside and there's no way then that...
This is Ryan Jackson. Good spell again this for Gillingham. Jackson turned down a new deal at Newport County to move to Gillingham, said no to Terry Butcher. Brave man. Donnelly's in the middle! And Donnelly finds the back of the net! Breathing space for Gillingham. They have Wigan Athletic cornered in their own backyard.
It's been coming the last few minutes. But Daniels at right back, he has no idea where Donnelly is. You see, he's never really looked at him, takes a little look at him now, and then that's it. And Donnelly just gets on the wrong side of him, and it's in the back of the net. As a full-back there or as a wing-back, you've got to be side on, you've got to be able to see the player and the ball. Mental to the career.
Jordi Hawuya into the mix, and that is thumped home by Will Grigg, who wasn't about to pass up that opportunity. And Wigan Athletic give Gillingham a tap on the shoulder. Will Grigg looking to do more damage. And that's Max Power, and the goalkeeper's lost it. It wasn't quite maximum power from Max Power, but Stuart Nelson couldn't deal with it. And out out of nothing, Wigan Athletic are level in this game.
Nelson, this should be a nice, simple one for him. You see, Max Powers had the shot. He shouldn't be beating a goalkeeper of Nelson's experience from there. This could be a last chance for them now in this corner.
Morgan is ready. Pearce also about to try and attack this set piece. It's a thumping header that ends up in the back of the net. It is the captain, Craig Morgan. Wigan Athletic simply did not give up. They did not walk away. And they have ripped up Gillingham's plans to go top tonight.
Bradley, just how disappointed will your dressing room be after that?
Yeah, obviously everyone will be devastated. Obviously to be 2 goals up, you expect to see the game out, but credit to Wigan, they come back and done us 3-2.
Defence or defending the best way for Gillingham seems to be in the form of attack, but was that proving costly tonight for you?
Yeah, maybe we threw a few too many men forward, and we needed that 3rd goal really to kill the game, because we know Wigan are a good side, especially here, and yeah, it's cost us.
Well, boys, well done. Bradley, you are the Sky Bet man of the match. Craig, we do the honours.
Thank you.
Despite a pre-match power cut at the keep mode, things got underway on time, but only Gillingham was switched on. Just 9 minutes gone when Ryan Jackson's cross was met and placed to perfection by Rory Donnelly, the Northern Irishman's 3rd goal in as many games. Doncaster recovered from that unhappy start to dominate first-half possession, but might have been 2-0 down before it ended. Bradley Dack not quite as accurate as Donnelly. Tonight, a 14th goal of the season. Dack's first contribution to the second half was to create a 10th for Donnelly, which was also Gillingham's 53rd. The leading scorers in English football and surely heading for a 5th win in 6 league games. But the one that got away in that sequence was their last game against Wigan, when Gillingham led 2-0 and lost. So Cameron Stewart's free kick gave Donny hope. He was later stretchered off after landing awkwardly, but Gillingham were floored 2 minutes from time by the home side's prolific goalscorer, Andy Williams, rolling home his 11th in 14 games.
Having sold top scorer Connor Washington to QPR this week, Peterborough fans might have wondered where the goals would come from. Erhun Oztumer had the answer. These two sides have got used to seeing goals galore as the top scorers in the Football League, but try as he might, John Egan just couldn't join in. But the Gills' 54th strike of the season did eventually arrive just after half-time, and it came thanks to the cool hand of Luke Norris. The home side had their danders well and truly up and won the game of head tennis with the posh defence, but Egan lost his fight with the woodwork and Norris lost his bearings in front of goal. Peterborough's Adil Nabi knew exactly where the goal was and almost celebrated his arrival at the club from West Brom with an absolute beauty. But Gillingham made the most of their luck by enjoying even more of it as the ball somehow found its way to Bradley Dack, who needed no second invitation. You have to feel a little for the visitors, who almost grabbed a late equaliser through Chris Forrester, but the Gills are flying high and perched nicely at the top of the table.
Fantastic result, a very good second half performance, and the results going for us. It's very nice to go back to the top. It's been a while, but obviously it's a fantastic achievement from a young group of players, and you know, we enjoyed the weekend.
3 points for your birthday too.
Burton's defeat meant a win for Gillingham would have sent them top of the pile, but they left the Lancashire coast full of if-onlys, which was also the story of Jack Redshaw's long-range effort. He'd been hoping to end a goal drought that stretched right back to Halloween, and a defensive horror show in the Gillingham area meant he would eventually get his wish. The visitors couldn't clear their lines, and when Max Amer's challenge on Mark Yates was deemed too strong, Redshaw had his chance from the penalty spot, and he took it. That said, Amer might have made amends by salvaging a point for his side, but Tom Aldred rode to the rescue for Blackpool, who are now unbeaten in their last 4 matches.
So that result means that Fleetwood missed the opportunity to climb out of the relegation places. Colchester were in FA Cup action, so they stayed bottom, and they're now a point behind Crewe.
At the other end, here we go. The top 2, Burton and Gillingham, both lost and missed out, therefore, on the chance to pull away from 3rd place Walsall. Wigan had a great day, taking advantage with their win over Port Vale and closing the gap on the Saddlers to just a point. Coventry have now lost 3 in a row. They stay 5th, and Millwall complete the playoff places. Barnsley's 6th straight league win sees them move into the top half of the table for the first time since September.
Justin Edinburgh will mark a year in charge of Gillingham tomorrow. He won't be celebrating with a win after a frustrating afternoon in front of goal. Rory Donnelly clipped the post after just 4 minutes. Having been denied by the frame of the goal, the home side then brought out the best in Lawrence Figaro, the Swindon keeper at his acrobatic best, to keep out Josh Wright. Figaro's job was made a little easier in the second half when Donnelly headed straight at him after finding space in the box. At least Donnelly was on target. The same couldn't be said for Nicky Ajose. Swindon now haven't scored in their last 3 games.
1 win in 5 for the Gills had seen their promotion push wobble. Hardly ideal timing to face in-form Barnsley. They got a helping hand from James Bree's wayward pass, and once Dominic Samuel got clear, he was not for stopping. Barnsley's best run of wins since 1955, 7 in a row. Had seen a relegation scrap turn into a playoff charge. Conor Hourihane levelled just past the hour. The parity was perilously short-lived, less than a minute in fact. Adam Davies could only parry from Rory Donnelly. Bradley Dack delivering league goal number 13 of the season. Barnsley still minus a manager after Lee Johnson's departure. The team not lacking in effort, Hourihane off target as the Tykes' winning run came to an end, but the search for a new head coach goes on.
England's top scorers Gillingham arrived in Lancashire flying high in the league and full of goals and wasted little time in doing what they do best. Doug Loft, the man to provide the Gills 58th of the campaign with an absolute gem. Given Oldham's woeful home record, you might have thought that would be that, but John Sheridan's side had a surprise in store for the visitors and the Boundary Park faithful. Tim Dieng's first goal of the season started the comeback, and suddenly a first home league win since August was possible. That said, some generous Bradley Garmston defending rather handed Oldham 3 precious points. James Wilson with the assist, and Jonathan Fort's first goal since the opening day of the season was just priceless.
Chesterfield boss Danny Wilson has called for his side to show more steel in front of goal, and they took the lead 10 minutes from half-time when, after fine work from Gaboli Ariyibi, Sylvan Ebanks-Blake bundled in his 10th of the season. The upturn in form for the Spyrites is apparently down to motivational DVDs. They could do worse than feature this strike from Lee Novak, his 3rd in as many games, 13 for this campaign in total. Gillingham escaped a point deduction this week after a mix-up early in the season meant Emmanuel Osodebe played without the correct documentation. Well, the only confusion here was in the Chesterfield defence as Osodebe pulled one back. The Spyrites held on to move 3 points clear of danger. A late Rory Donnelly header couldn't stop Gillingham drifting 3 points further away from the automatic spots.
That draw then sees Colchester stay bottom of the league, 4 points behind Crewe. Oldham are 5 points better off, and it's Shrewsbury who remain in the final relegation place.
At the other end, Burton stay top, but they're now just 2 points clear of Wigan. Gillingham and Walsall are 4 points further back, and Millwall and Coventry stay where they are in 5th and 6th, where they were.
When your confidence is a bit shaky, the one thing you don't want is to concede an early goal. Typically, therefore, a freak gust of wind somehow turned a corner into a rather crafty shot. Fleetwood ahead after just 3 minutes. The weather and Gillingham's prospects soon became even more bleak as the home side advanced from their own penalty area to the back of the Gills' net with just 3 touches. Shola Amiobi calmly finishing. Both the Gills and the conditions improved, and smart work from Luke Norris saw the Gills pull a goal back. But despite dominating for much of the game, they failed to score again as they recorded their 3rd successive 2-1 defeat.
Gills' automatic promotion push has faltered with 3 straight defeats. Scunthorpe, unbeaten in 5 at home, really should have won this one. 18-goal striker Paddy Madden's header clipping the crossbar. Then Gills defender Adam El Abd saw the post spare him the ignominy of an own goal before Madden's follow-up shot was blocked. And on another day, the Scunny frontman might have had a hat-trick, but visiting keeper Stuart Nelson ensured he and his side ended that losing run, but they badly need to start winning it.
It's conceivable that League One could become a buffer division between these two sides next season. The disparity evident early on as Reading loanee Dominic Samuel showed flexibility to guide in the opener. League One's leading scorers were being ably assisted by others too. Crewe's Ben Nugent momentarily took his eye off the ball. Samuel missed by a whisker, but the unfortunate John Guthrie knew little about his crucial final touch. An inevitable Gills victory became an unassailable advantage in stoppage time. Josh Wright's third, ensuring the gap on second place Wigan has been shortened.
Southend manager Phil Brown spent much of this week fending off questions about the vacancy at Bolton, so he was probably pleased to be back on the touchline and watching his team take the lead against Gillingham through Anthony Wordsworth midway through the first half. And the lead almost grew courtesy of Jack Payne. An excellent run deserved a more accurate finish. While Southend would surely be delighted with a playoff place this season, automatic promotion's the aim for Gillingham, and they've lost ground on the teams above them, despite rescuing a point in the second half, when Luke Norris scored for the 6th time this season. The Gills had recorded their first win in 5 last weekend, a 3-0 home win over Crewe, and they came desperately close to 3 more points late on. Pressure on the Southend goal led to Dominic Samuel's shot being saved by Daniel Bentley, before Wordsworth showed he can defend too. The goalscorer's goal line clearance ensuring it finished 1-1.
Without a win on the road in 2016, Gillingham needed victory at Bury to help cement at least a playoff place. And there was a change in fortune in store for the Gills. This ricocheting ball falling nicely for Luke Norris, who nabbed his 2nd goal of the holiday weekend. Bury weren't looking quite so sharp. Ryan Lowe unable to turn this effort goalwards. The last time Gillingham won at Bury, they had Tony Cascarino in their side. Ryan Jackson wasn't even born then, but he almost sealed the points here. Goalkeeper Chris Neal kept Bury in it. But at the other end, Brennan Dickinson stopped them from grabbing a point. Bury winless in 5 now. I'm glad they already have 50 points on the board.
Well, here's the table. At the wrong end, Crewe stay a point behind Colchester, who didn't play today. Doncaster, 7 defeats in a row. They find themselves 4 points below Oldham, and it's only goal difference keeping Fleetwood out of the relegation places.
At the other end, Burton are just a point clear at the top now, while Wigan have taken full advantage of Walsall not playing this weekend by opening up a 6-point gap on the Saddlers. Gillingham stay 4th, and Millwall's win tonight sees them move back to 5th.
When your confidence is a bit shaky, the one thing you don't want is to concede an early goal. Typically, therefore, a freak gust of wind somehow turned a corner into a rather crafty shot, leaving Fleetwood ahead after just 3 minutes. The weather and Gillingham's prospects soon became even more bleak, as the home side advanced from their own penalty area to the back of the Gills net with just 3 touches, Shola Amiobi calmly finishing. Both the Gills and the conditions improved, and smart work from Luke Norris saw the Gills pull a goal back. But despite dominating for much of the game, they failed to score again as they recorded their 3rd successive 2-1 defeat.
Gills' automatic promotion push has faltered with 3 straight defeats. Scunthorpe, unbeaten in 5 at home, really should have won this one. 18-goal striker Paddy Madden's header clipping the crossbar. Then Gills defender Adam El Abd saw the post spare him the ignominy of an own goal before Madden's follow-up shot was blocked. And on another day, the Scunny frontman might have had a hat-trick, but visiting keeper Stuart Nelson ensured he and his side ended that losing run, but they badly need to start winning it.
It's conceivable that League One could become a buffer division between these two sides next season. The disparity evident early on as Reading loanee Dominic Samuel showed flexibility to guide in the opener. League One's leading scorers were being ably assisted by others too. Crewe's Ben Nugent momentarily took his eye off the ball. Samuel missed by a whisker, but the unfortunate John Guthrie knew little about his crucial final touch. An inevitable Gills victory became an unassailable advantage in stoppage time. Josh Wright's third, ensuring the gap on second place Wigan has been shortened.
Southend manager Phil Brown spent much of this week fending off questions about the vacancy at Bolton, so he was probably pleased to be back on the touchline and watching his team take the lead against Gillingham through Anthony Wordsworth midway through the first half. And the lead almost grew courtesy of Jack Payne. An excellent run deserved a more accurate finish. While Southend would surely be delighted with a playoff place this season, automatic promotion's the aim for Gillingham, and they've lost ground on the teams above them, despite rescuing a point in the second half, when Luke Norris scored for the 6th time this season. The Gills had recorded their first win in 5 last weekend, a 3-0 home win over Crewe, and they came desperately close to 3 more points late on. Pressure on the Southend goal led to Dominic Samuel's shot being saved by Daniel Bentley, before Wordsworth showed he can defend too. The goalscorer's goal line clearance ensuring it finished 1-1.
Without a win on the road in 2016, Gillingham needed victory at Bury to help cement at least a playoff place. And there was a change in fortune in store for the Gills. This ricocheting ball falling nicely for Luke Norris, who nabbed his second goal of the holiday weekend. Bury weren't looking quite so sharp. Ryan Lowe unable to turn this effort goalwards. The last time Gillingham won at Bury, they had Tony Cascarino in their side. Ryan Jackson wasn't even born then, but he almost sealed the points here. Goalkeeper Chris Neal kept Bury in it. But at the other end, Brennan Dickinson stopped them from grabbing a point. Bury winless in 5 now. I'm glad they already have 50 points on the board.
But here's the table at the wrong end. Crewe stay a point behind Colchester, who didn't play today. Doncaster, 7 defeats in a row. They find themselves 4 points below Oldham, and it's only goal difference keeping Fleetwood out of the relegation places.
At the other end, Burton are just a point clear at the top now, while Wigan have taken full advantage of Walsall not playing this weekend by opening up a 6-point gap on the Saddlers. Gillingham stay 4th, and Millwall's win tonight sees them move back to 5th.
Terrific, 16 wins in the last 21 at Priestfield, but they were lucky not to lose this one. Coventry's Jacob Murphy saw a wonderful effort clip the crossbar, and then after a defensive lapse, Marcus Tudgai rattled the frame again. Gillingham's automatic promotion hopes recede.
It was Sheffield United who were tipped for promotion when they went down 4-0 at Gillingham on the season's opening day. Che Adams' early effort was as close as the Blades came to exacting revenge. United's home form has been their saving grace recently, but there was no way through here. A combination of Stuart Nelson and Adam El Abd kept out Paul Coots. Gillingham also survived a scare from Adams in the last minute, as they recorded a 5th clean sheet out of 6.
Wigan quite clearly look like they're going to take that top spot, but I still feel that second's automatic is up for grabs, and I think...
Some football news, and Gillingham are down to 6th in League One after being beaten 2-1 at home last night by Walsall. Milan Lagkovic curled the ball home to open the scoring for Walsall in the second half. The Gills did score the best goal of the game, but Luke Norris's injury-time bicycle kick was nothing more than a consolation, I'm afraid. Meanwhile, his teammate Bradley Dack has been nominated for the League One Player of the Year award after scoring 15 goals this season. Good luck.
April is proving to be the cruelest month for Gillingham's playoff ambitions, and they got very little sympathy from AJ Leach-Smith. The Port Vale striker's emphatic finish gave the Gills that increasingly familiar sinking feeling, and 2 minutes later the direct approach of Ben Perkis paid dividends again. His crossfield pass controlled and converted by Carl Dickinson, and Gillingham were heading for a second home defeat in 5 days after starting the month with 2 goalless draws. As against Walsall on Tuesday, they finished strongly, and Bradley Dack did beat Jack Annett, but not Richard Duffy on the line. Gillingham still in 6th, but out of luck, and the chasing pack is closing.
Gillingham's hopes of replacing the Addicts are still in the balance. Callum Camps put rivals Rochdale ahead, but the Gills fought back, and John Egan's header kept them in the playoff positions, but only on goal.
Sitting 2 points outside the relegation zone, a 7-match winless run had thrown Shrewsbury's season back in the balance, but they struck first just past the quarter hour. Sully Kaikai firing in his 12th goal of the season. Despite the home side's relatively lofty position, it's been a much less prolific campaign for Gillingham striker Cody MacDonald. But with the half-time whistle seconds away, he came up with a goal of real quality to tie things up. A Shrewsbury win would bring a second consecutive season of League One football a step closer. The fans were believing again when Andy Mangan restored the lead 11 minutes into the second half. But Gillingham too showed great resolve as they looked to end their own winless run, stretching to 5 games. Jake Hessenthaler firing through a crowd to give them hope of maintaining their place in the top 6. But a good day for the visitors was guaranteed when Jean-Louis Akpa-Akpro pounced 9 minutes from time to give them a 4-point cushion over the bottom 2 with the game in hand. Just 2 wins in 13 now for Gillingham, who dropped to 7th.
Despite that run of results, a playoff place is still up for grabs for Gillingham. Bradley Dack came close to getting them back on track just before half-time, but didn't test John McLaughlin. Burton's form has also dipped at the business end of the season, but in Lucas Akins, they have a man in form. He followed last weekend's hat-trick with the opening goal. Cody MacDonald also scored last time out, and he gave the Gills some hope of getting their own promotion ambitions back on track. But deep into injury time, Mark Duffy's corner was powerfully headed in by Tom Naylor. Burton now just need one more point to confirm promotion and could even go up on Monday if Walsall failed to win.
At the top, there you go. Wigan are back in the Championship. They'll have to wait until next weekend, though, to be officially crowned champions. Burton are 6 points clear of Millwall and Walsall, but they do have that game in hand. Bradford have guaranteed their playoff place, and there's going to be a three-way battle for sixth between Barnsley, Scunthorpe and Gillingham on the final day.
Gillingham win and hope results elsewhere went their way, which meant goalkeeper Stuart Nelson was their early hero, denying first Mark Beevers and then Joe Martin. Remember, the Gills had set the pace early on in the season, but now found themselves hanging on to a fading dream as Nelson was powerless to stop Aidan O'Brien from finding the back of the net. The home side had a lifeline, though, when Marlon Romeo lunged at Brennan Dickinson and saw red. Millwall will lose him for the playoffs, and his manager Neil Harris was so angry he was sent to the stands. The question was, could Gillingham capitalise? And the answer was yes. John Egan unmarked and able to squeeze his side back onto level terms 2 minutes into injury time. But hope would eventually turn to heartache when Dickinson took out Lee Gregory. It gave him and Millwall the chance to grab a 98th minute winner, which crucially gives them home advantage for the second leg of their playoff semi-final, and he took it.
Absolutely delighted with the commitment and the performance. There was a real hostile atmosphere at times today, and that set us in good stead for a trip to Valley.
Well, that result sees Shrewsbury drop to 20th, while Swindon finished the campaign in 16th. Crewe and Colchester, who were already down, will be joined in League Two next season by Blackpool and Doncaster. Fleetwood, who could have been caught by Blackpool at the start of the day, finished the season 5 points clear of the drop. At the top of the table, Wigan have been crowned League One champions despite losing at home to Barnsley. Burton's draw with Doncaster means that they've secured back-to-back promotions at the expense of Walsall, who will have to try their luck in the playoffs. The Saddlers will face Barnsley in their playoff semi-final, while Millwall will take on Bradford